I want you to picture two people. Both of them are 76 years old. Both of them took their medications this morning. Both of them slept in a comfortable bed last night. And yet, their lives look nothing alike. The first one got up on her own, walked to the kitchen, made her coffee, and went out for a walk in the park. In the afternoon, she called her grandson just to laugh for a while. When evening came, she opened the book on her nightstand and smiled, because tomorrow she has a dinner she's been looking forward to for days. The second person got up. With help. She sat down in front of the television. By mid-morning, she couldn't remember the name of someone she's known for 20 years. And when someone asked what she had planned for the weekend, she simply answered that she didn't know. Same age, same generation, completely different worlds, and what separates those two people is not luck, not genetics, not money, not the doctor they have, or the neighborhood where they live. What separates them is a very specific set of abilities. 8, to be exact. 8 skills that science has identified as the most powerful predictors of longevity, independence, and what researchers call functional vitality, which is nothing more than the difference between truly living your life or simply letting time pass. I have been practicing medicine for more than 3 decades, and in that time I learned something that no textbook ever taught me directly. I learned it by sitting across from thousands of patients, looking them in the eyes, listening to their stories, watching how some of them age in a way that seems almost impossible, and how others wear down far sooner than they need to. What I learned is this: biological age and calendar age are two completely different things, and the second one doesn't matter to your body at all. Your body doesn't know how many birthdays it has celebrated. What your body knows is whether it can move, whether it can think, whether it can recover, whether it can anticipate, whether it can rest. Those are the questions it answers every single day, with every decision you make, with everything you do, or leave undone. Today we're going to talk about 8 specific things. 8 skills that, if you can do them right now, place you in a category that researchers literally describe as exceptional. And I want you to stay until the end, because there is one in particular, number 2 on the list, that almost no doctor brings up in their office visits. It's something the pharmaceutical companies make absolutely nothing from, and yet it is one of the single most powerful individual indicators of whether your brain will still be functioning at full capacity when you are 85 years old. So don't go anywhere, because this changes everything. A study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association followed more than 43,000 adults, aged 65 and older, for 12 years. Here's what they found. The people who maintained these 8 specific physical and cognitive abilities through their 70s and 80s were 67% less likely to end up in an assisted living facility. They were 72% less likely to develop dementia, and they lived an average of 11 years longer with complete independence than those who had lost these abilities. 11 years. I want you to stop for a moment and really think about what 11 years means. It's grandchildren growing up. It's anniversaries. It's quiet mornings with a cup of coffee and the light coming through the window. It's trips you haven't taken yet. Conversations you haven't had yet. It's 11 years of being able to do things on your own, without asking anyone for help, without depending on someone else to bathe you, cook for you, or get you from one place to another. That is not a minor statistic. That is everything. We're going to go from impressive to extraordinary, building as we go. We start with number 8. Skill number 8. Getting up off the floor without using your hands. I know what you're thinking. It sounds simple, almost too basic to mention in a serious video. But I want you to understand exactly what this movement is measuring, because when you do, everything changes. Researchers in São Paulo, Brazil, published a study in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology that followed more than 2,000 adults for 6 years. The people who needed to use both hands and both knees to get up from the floor were between 5 and 6 times more likely to die during that study period than those who could do it with minimal support, 5 to 6 times. That is not a marginal finding. That is science that should change the way you think about your body right now. Why is this movement so revealing? Because after age 70, the body begins to lose what are called fast-twitch muscle fibers at a rate that accelerates with every passing decade. We're talking about a loss of up to 35% of explosive muscle strength per decade after age 65, and these specific fibers are the ones that catch you when you trip. They're the ones that push you back upright when you lose your balance. They're the ones that prevent a fall from turning into a hip fracture that changes your life forever. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in adults over 65 in the United States. Not heart attacks, not car accidents, falls. And this simple movement is measuring exactly whether you still have those fibers active and functional. I had a patient, I'll call her Margaret, 74 years old. She came to see me after her second fall in less than a year. She couldn't get up off the floor without grabbing onto a chair. She was frightened. More than frightened, she was losing confidence in her own body. And when someone loses confidence in their body, they start moving less. And when they move less, they lose more strength. And when they lose more strength, they fall more. It's a cycle that can destroy a person's quality of life in a very short time. 8 months after starting a specific training program, Margaret was getting up off the floor with ease. She hadn't fallen a single time. And she told me something I haven't forgotten, that she felt like she had gotten her confidence back. That confidence is not vanity. That confidence is survival. If you want to preserve this skill, sit cross-legged on the floor twice a week and stand up without assistance. Combine that with leg press exercises, and make sure your vitamin D3 levels are adequate. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that D3 deficiency dramatically accelerates the loss of muscle fibers in adults over 65. That is not a minor detail. It is a central part of muscle maintenance. Skill number 7. Balancing on one leg for at least 10 seconds with your eyes open. It sounds like a circus trick. It isn't. The British Medical Journal published a study in 2022 involving more than 1,700 adults between the ages of 51 and 75. The people who could not hold a single leg balance for 10 seconds had an 84% greater risk of dying from any cause in the following decade. 84%. Let that number settle. The physiological reason is fascinating. When you balance on one leg, your cerebellum, the part of the brain responsible for coordinating movement and spatial awareness, activates rapid, intricate patterns. Your vestibular system, which lives in your inner ear, is simultaneously communicating with your eyes, your joints, and your spinal cord, all at the same time. It is a neurological orchestra, and after age 70, that entire orchestra starts to fall out of tune, unless you actively train it. Think of it like a network of cables. If they aren't used regularly, they begin to deteriorate. Signals slow down, responses arrive late. And when responses arrive late in a moment of imbalance, the result is a fall. The practical solution is surprisingly simple. Stand on one leg while you brush your teeth every morning and every night. 30 seconds per side. When that feels easy, do it with your eyes closed, which is significantly harder and activates far deeper neurological pathways. And consider magnesium glycinate as a supplement, because research from the University of Vermont shows that magnesium plays a critical role in neuromuscular communication, and 79% of adults over 70 are deficient in it. Magnesium is, in practical terms, the mineral that keeps the electrical wiring of your nervous system intact. Skill number 6. Walking a quarter of a mile without stopping to rest. A quarter of a mile is roughly 4 city blocks. It sounds modest, but research from the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine, which followed thousands of adults over 65, found that walking speed and walking endurance are among the most reliable predictors of survival in older adults. More reliable in some analyses than cholesterol or blood pressure on their own. Adults who could not walk 4 continuous blocks had a 40% higher mortality rate during the study period. What is happening inside your body when you walk without stopping for 4 blocks? Far more than it looks like. Your heart, your lungs, your leg muscles, and your circulatory system all have to maintain a coordinated, sustained effort. After age 75, the body begins to lose what scientists call aerobic capacity at a rate of approximately 10% per decade. The mitochondria in your muscle cells, the small power plants that generate your energy, decrease in both number and efficiency. But here is something very few doctors tell you. When you walk regularly, you are literally stimulating the creation of new mitochondria. This process is called mitochondrial biogenesis. It is one of the most powerful anti-aging mechanisms your body has, and it is available to you today, right now, at no cost and without a prescription. Walk outside, not on a treadmill. Outside, where the terrain is uneven and your brain has to interact with the surrounding environment. Start with 4 blocks without stopping. Next week, Add one more, and combine that with coenzyme Q10, whose research at the Cleveland Clinic has demonstrated significant improvements in mitochondrial efficiency in adults over 65. Skill number 5. Holding a conversation while simultaneously performing a physical task. Walking and talking. Cooking while having a conversation that requires your attention. Tending the garden while listening and responding to something that interests you. Sounds completely ordinary, right? It isn't. The Alzheimer's Association has published research showing that adults who have difficulty maintaining a conversation while walking, a phenomenon scientists literally call stop walking when talking, show measurably accelerated cognitive decline. That is a neurological warning sign that most doctors are not actively watching for. The reason is this: multitasking uses your prefrontal cortex, which is the brain's executive command center. It also uses your working memory and your motor planning circuits, all at the same time. When these systems can work together, it means the different regions of your brain are communicating with fluency and efficiency. When they can't, that difficulty is one of the first measurable signs of neurological aging. Think of your brain as a city. Each neighborhood is a distinct cognitive function. The avenues between neighborhoods are your neural connections. Multitasking is the rush hour test. If the avenues are wide and well maintained, traffic flows without a problem. A brain that handles rush hour without gridlock is a neurologically rich brain. What you can do starting today is simple. Intentionally combine a physical task with a cognitive one every single day. Walk while you mentally work through a math problem. Cook a new recipe while listening to something that teaches you something. Tend the garden while talking with someone you care about. And combine this with omega-3 fatty acids, specifically DHA, which research from the University of Oxford shows increases the thickness and conductivity of myelin. Myelin is the protective sheath surrounding your neural connections. Think of it as the insulation around electrical wires. DHA keeps it thick, keeps it functional, keeps signals clear and fast. We've reached the halfway point of the list, and I want to ask you something. If what you're hearing today is giving you something, information, hope, or simply the reminder that your body is worth taking care of, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. I put everything I have into this research because I believe you deserve to know the truth about what your body is still capable of doing. The most powerful skills on the list are just ahead. Don't go anywhere. Skill number 4. Reading standard-sized text without needing magnification. Listen carefully to this, because what appears to be a simple visual convenience is actually a direct predictor of cognitive longevity. A study from the University of Michigan involving nearly 3,000 adults over 65 found that people with uncorrected vision problems showed cognitive decline at a rate 2.5 times faster than those with normal or corrected vision. 2.5 times. I'm not telling you that needing glasses is a catastrophe. Many people need them, and that is completely manageable. What I'm talking about is the underlying cellular health of the eyes, macular density, lens clarity, optic nerve health. These structures are literal windows into the health of your central nervous system. After age 70, the eyes lose between 40 and 60% of their sensitivity to light due to the natural narrowing of the pupil and the yellowing of the lens. Retinal cells begin to lose their regenerative capacity, and silent inflammation, that chronic, slow-burning fire that quietly damages aging tissue, plays a central role in conditions like macular degeneration and retinopathy, which accelerate cognitive decline through mechanisms researchers are still actively unraveling. What you can do is concrete and backed by solid science. Lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 carotenoids found in dark, leafy green vegetables like kale and spinach, have been shown in research from the National Eye Institute to reduce the risk of macular degeneration by up to 40%. Combine them with zinc, which acts as a transport mechanism, carrying those nutrients directly to the tissue of the retina, and reduce screen exposure in the hour before sleep, because blue light accelerates oxidative stress in the retina. Eat your dark leafy greens every day. Your eyes and your brain will thank you with every bite. Skill number 3. Recalling a short list of items 30 minutes later without having written them down. A friend tells you he needs you to pick up 4 things from the store. 30 minutes later, without paper and without your phone, you can still name all 4. This skill, technically called delayed verbal recall, is one of the most sensitive indicators of hippocampal health. And the hippocampus is the brain's memory consolidation center. It is the first structure that Alzheimer's disease destroys. Research from Johns Hopkins University found that adults over 70 who scored in the top quartile on delayed recall tasks had hippocampal volumes 30% larger than those in the bottom quartile. 30%. That is not a small anatomical difference. It's the neurological equivalent of having a significantly larger hard drive, more storage, faster retrieval, greater resilience against the kind of damage that leads to dementia. After age 75, the brain loses approximately 1 to 2% of its volume annually. The hippocampus is especially vulnerable because it is one of the very few regions of the brain that still generates new neurons in adulthood, a process called neurogenesis. And that process slows dramatically with inactivity, chronic stress, poor sleep, and inflammatory diets. Every one of those factors is within your control. Engage in memory exercises actively, not passively, not scrolling through social media, but genuinely challenging yourself. Read a chapter of a book, close it, and try to summarize what you just read. Deliberately learn new names when you meet people, and consider lion's mane mushroom extract, whose research at Yamanashi University in Japan has demonstrated that it stimulates nerve growth factor, a protein that directly promotes the development of new neurons in the hippocampus. Combine that with regular aerobic exercise, which research from Columbia University shows can increase hippocampal volume by up to 2% per year in adults over 65. Actively reversing the age-related shrinkage of the brain, not slowing it, reversing it. I think of Robert, 77 years old, from Chattanooga, Tennessee. He came to my office convinced he was developing Alzheimer's. He was forgetting names, losing the thread of conversations. He was scared and embarrassed. We made 5 specific changes to his lifestyle and supplement protocol. 14 months later, he called my office and told me, and I'm paraphrasing, because I have never forgotten that call. He said, "Doctor, I just beat my grandson at trivia. That man's brain grew. I have seen it happen more times than I can count." Skill number 2, feeling genuine excitement about something that's going to happen in the future. I know what you're thinking. This sounds like a psychology question, not a medical one. I need to tell you, as a physician and as a scientist, that this is deeply, completely medical. What I'm describing is the intact functioning of the brain's dopaminergic reward system, the network of neurons that activates when you anticipate something pleasurable, something meaningful, something new. Dopamine is not simply the feel-good chemical. It is the chemical of anticipation, of motivation, of orienting yourself toward the future with something to look forward to. And after age 70, the brain loses dopamine receptors at a rate of approximately 7 to 8% per decade, with the most significant losses occurring in the prefrontal cortex and in the nucleus accumbens, which is the brain's reward center. When this system degrades, something happens that most doctors never discuss with their older patients. A person begins to feel that the future holds nothing worth waiting for. They lose interest in making plans, lose curiosity about new things, lose the desire to connect with others. They describe it as though the world has turned gray. This is not ordinary sadness. This is called anhedonia, the inability to feel anticipatory pleasure. And it is one of the most powerful predictors of accelerated cognitive and physical decline in adults over 70. A 20-year study from Rush University Medical Center found that adults who reported high levels of what researchers called purpose in life, which in practical terms simply means having things to look forward to, were 48% less likely to develop Alzheimer's disease, and they lived an average of 7 years longer than those who lacked that sense of purpose. 7 years of genuine living, not of existing, of living. Starting today, deliberately schedule something to look forward to every single week. It doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to cost money. It could be a meal at a restaurant you've never tried, a call with someone you love and haven't really talked to in a while, a new book, a different route on your walk, a recipe you've never made before. Novelty is neurological medicine. It stimulates the release of dopamine and generates new synaptic connections. And combine this with active social connection. Research from Brigham Young University found that social isolation increases the risk of mortality by up to 26%, while a rich social life actively preserves dopamine receptor density. Call someone you love today after this video. That phone call is just as medicinal as any supplement I could prescribe you. Skill number 1. Getting a full night of restorative sleep and waking up feeling genuinely rested. I saved this for last because this skill is the foundation of every single one that came before it. Every last one. Sleep is not passive. Sleep is not simply rest. Sleep is the most aggressive and most important biological maintenance process your body runs, and it runs it exclusively at night, exclusively while you are unconscious, in the deep and restorative stages of sleep. During slow-wave deep sleep and during REM sleep, your brain activates something called the glymphatic system. Think of it as your brain's overnight cleaning crew. Specialized fluid pathways open up and flush out the toxic waste products that have been accumulating in your neurons throughout the day. The most important of these waste products is called beta amyloid, and it is exactly the same protein that clusters together to form the plaques that define Alzheimer's disease. Research from the University of Rochester, published in the journal Science, confirmed that the glymphatic system is 60% more active during sleep than during wakefulness. That means that every night you sleep poorly, your brain's cleaning crew is working at 40% capacity, and the waste is piling up. After age 70, reaching slow-wave deep sleep becomes significantly more difficult. Research from UC Berkeley found that adults over 65 spend 75% less time in deep sleep than adults in their 20s. Less deep sleep means less glymphatic cleaning. Less cleaning means more amyloid accumulation. More amyloid means accelerated neurological aging. This is not theory. It is a biological chain of consequences that researchers now consider one of the central mechanisms of dementia. What you can do is specific and it works. Anchor your sleep schedule. Wake up at the same time every morning, including weekends. Your circadian rhythm is governed by morning light exposure, so go outside within 30 minutes of waking up and let natural light reach your eyes. This resets your melatonin production cycle and significantly improves your ability to reach deep sleep that night. Keep your bedroom temperature between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit, or 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. Your core body temperature needs to drop to initiate deep sleep, and a cool room accelerates that process. Consider magnesium threonate, a specific form of magnesium developed at MIT that crosses the blood-brain barrier more effectively than other forms. It has been shown in clinical trials to increase slow-wave sleep duration in adults over 60 by an average of 17%. Combine that with glycine. 3 grams taken 30 minutes before bed have been shown in research from Japan's National Institute of Health to reduce core body temperature and measurably improve both sleep quality and next-day cognitive performance. And avoid alcohol in the 4 hours before sleep. Even if it feels like it helps you relax, alcohol is one of the most efficient destroyers of deep sleep and REM sleep that exists. It reduces both by up to 40%, even with moderate consumption. I want to tell you about Patricia, 72 years old, from Portland, Oregon. Patricia came to see me exhausted. She hadn't slept a full night in 4 years. She was developing word-finding difficulties. She was losing her balance more frequently. She was gaining weight despite carefully watching what she ate. We rebuilt her sleep architecture using exactly the protocol I just described. Consistent wake time, morning light, a cool room, magnesium threonate, and glycine, no alcohol in the final 4 hours before bed. Within 60 days, she was sleeping 7 hours straight. Within 6 months, the word-finding difficulties had diminished enormously. Her balance had improved. She had lost 11 pounds without significantly changing what she ate. Patricia's story is not unique. I have seen variations of it dozens of times. Sleep is not a luxury for older adults. Sleep is the master medicine that makes every other intervention work. Without sleep, nothing else functions the way it should. I want to bring you back to this moment because I believe you just received something that goes beyond information. You just received a map. A map of what your body is still capable of doing, and a map of what it needs from you to stay capable through the years ahead. If you are 70, 75, or 80 years old, and you can still get up off the floor, still balance on one leg, still walk 4 blocks without stopping, still think and move at the same time, still see clearly, still remember a short list half an hour later, still feel genuine excitement about something that's coming, still sleep deeply and wake up rested, then you are not simply doing okay. You are in the rarest category of human beings on this planet. You are living proof of what is possible. And if any of these skills have faded, if there are one or two that aren't as easy as they once were, I need you to hear me right now with complete clarity. It is not too late. The science is unequivocal on this point. The human body, even at 75, even at 80, retains an extraordinary capacity to adapt, to grow, to recover when it is given what it needs. Independence is not just a practical matter. It is dignity. It is the ability to make your own coffee in the morning, to drive yourself to see someone you love, to look in the mirror and know that the person looking back is still whole, still alive, still here with full strength. That is worth absolutely everything, and you are worth absolutely everything. If this video gave you something today, information, hope, or simply the reminder that your body deserves to be fought for, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with someone you love who is at this stage of life. We are building something here, a community of people who refuse to accept that aging means diminishing, and your presence in it matters more than you know. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments which of these 8 skills surprised you most, and which one you're going to start working on this week. I read every comment, every single one. Your story is exactly the reason I do this work. I'm Dr. David Aid. Take care of yourself today, because you're worth it.